The American system of justice was built on three co-equal branches, intended to provide a predictable and balanced process for the people. Under this traditional division of power, laws are debated in the legislature, enforced by the executive, and any disputes are resolved in a court of law before a jury of peers. The recent friction in this system is defined by high-stakes federal raids on private property, where agents are deployed to seize evidence based on microscopic plant molecules. In Virginia, state officials have supplemented these raids with a 1844 tip line, an infrastructure designed to encourage citizens to report local farmers and shopkeepers directly to state regulators. This shift indicates that the constitutional referee system is being replaced by an administrative state, a network of unelected agencies that can effectively act as all three branches of government to manage domestic markets. The modern administrative state has centered much of its attention on a specific, open-pollinated agricultural crop, industrial hemp. This chart lists the physical utility of the plant, from its historical use in textiles and structural hempcrete to its modern ability to sequester carbon and regenerate fallow soil. Despite being a non-intoxicating material, the plant is trapped in a bureaucratic loophole. Federal and state law defines it not by its industrial function, but by an arbitrary chemical threshold of 0.3% THC. This chemical policing of building materials suggests that these rules have moved beyond public safety and into the realm of economic management, protecting established industries from a decentralized competitor. The administrative apparatus often avoids the traditional legislative process, where agricultural policy is usually subject to public testimony and committee debate. In Virginia, lawmakers bypassed this transparency by tucking sweeping criminal regulations into a massive must-pass state funding bill known as the biennium budget. Hidden within that budget text was a strict new limit, a 2 milligram total THC cap per package on all consumable hemp products. The immediate result of this maneuver was that legally acquired inventory on the shelves of independent farms and retailers became criminal contraband overnight, without any financial restitution. Using state funding bills to enact agricultural criminal codes sidesteps the single object rule, shielding lawmakers from the scrutiny of a standalone vote. These emergency budget caps are scheduled to take full effect in August 2026, forcing a sudden contraction of the independent market. However, the state-sanctioned corporate recreational market is legally barred from opening until July 2027. This 11-month gap creates a market dead zone. It functions as an economic filter, potentially bankrupting independent local growers before the corporate market is permitted to open. On a federal level, the FDA uses a similar strategy, maintaining a decades-long refusal to approve hemp grain for commercial livestock feed, which keeps farmers dependent on corporate soy and corn. These administrative delays and chemical caps form a calculated siege, utilizing regulatory power to protect entrenched market leaders from small-scale competition. When these administrative rules are enforced, the citizen rarely gets a traditional day in court or a trial before a jury of peers. Agencies like the DEA and the Virginia Cannabis Control Authority draft their own internal unregulations, essentially acting as their own judges. Through anonymous tips and administrative inspections, these boards can issue immediate civil penalties and cease and desist orders, bypassing the requirements of traditional warrants. By transferring judicial power to unelected bureaus, the state removes the primary constitutional defenses that protect private property from arbitrary seizure. The planned structure for the Virginia market becomes clear in 2027. The recreational retail sector will be limited to just 350 licenses for the entire state. This artificial scarcity ensures the market is accessible only to heavily capitalized, multi-state corporate entities that can navigate the high barriers to entry. Public support for legalization has been utilized by lobbyists to establish a closed-loop, state-backed market structure. By claiming jurisdiction over the molecular biology of a soil-regenerating crop, the state establishes a precedent for managing the raw biological inputs of the farm. Controlling the plant provides the lever to control the farm, and control of the farm ultimately results in top-down management of the food supply. Protecting American free enterprise requires removing agricultural authority from administrative agencies that operate without public oversight. Industrial farming, grain processing, and the manufacturing of structural building materials must be entirely separated from drug enforcement and health agency jurisdiction. We must return to the constitutional standard. The government should be required to prove actual harm to a victim in an open court before a farmer's property can be seized. Agrarian liberty and decentralized agriculture can only survive when power is moved out of administrative tribunals and returned to the United States Constitution.